Hey guys, this is the horoscope for Gemini for the Taurus season. So, for the period between the 20th of April until the 20th of May. So, we have a lot of astrological events just to say, what to expect in this video. So, we are going to talk about the Sun in Taurus and Mercury going back to Aries. Then we have the transit Mars in Gemini. We have a new moon in Taurus, Venus moving to Aries, Mercury going direct, a full moon in Scorpio and Taurus, the North Node going to Leo and the South Node to Aquarius, and Mercury going back to Taurus again. So a lot of astrological events and very interesting month ahead for all of us. Let's start with the 20th of April when we have the transit Sun entering Taurus. So here is the Sun and Taurus, and it is in your 12th house. So during this whole month, the transit Sun is going to be in your 12th house. And we should say that probably this is the most passive period during the whole year for you especially. This is the time when you may not be so concentrated on some kind of social activities, but instead you may prefer to spend more time alone. That's a great time to take a rest, to reevaluate the past 1 year, because actually this is 1 year that takes for the Sun to go through the whole zodiac. So previously you had the transit Sun in 12th house 1 year ago. So you can analyze the past 1 year, what you have been through, what are your what you have achieved and what you need to separate with, especially important, because 12th house is the house of losses and separation. So you may take the conscious decision to separate with something, to leave something in the past. And generally, when the Sun transits 12th house, people are more focused on the past, on their dreams, or some things that are not so socially visible, not related with their social achievements. For those who have interests in some kind of spiritual activities and knowledge, this transit can be very beneficial for you. This can be actually a very productive time. So some kind of meditations or everything that you are doing on your own can be more positive for you during this 1 month period. And on the same day, so on the 20th, we have also Mercury going retrograde back to Aries and your 11th house. So we know that Mercury retrograde is a time when we need to be careful with contacts, with information, with plans, with time, with everything, especially if we are starting something new. That's not a good time. So 11th house is related with your social achievements, like social activities more, not achievements but activities, which include other people, your friendships and groups of people that you're part of. So be more careful with your plans that include other people, that includes your friends or some kind of social causes and goals. They may not be so fluent for you. They may require more attention, more time, and you may need to change something in this area, something related with your plans, with your social plans, or friendships and these things. So next we have on the 21st of April the transit Mars going to Gemini, which is actually in your first house. So that's a very important transit. Everything which affects first house actually affects you personally. And Mars stays in one sign for around 2 months. So these 2 months are probably going to be very active for you. And Mars is related with, putting a lot of efforts, sometimes very often actually, literally physical effort in something. And it suggests that you can start different new things. You may put a lot of energy into that goal. And sometimes we need to say that Mars is related with being more impatient, with a lot of hurry, with possible tension and possible conflict. So you may notice that you are more nervous during this time, that you are more impatient, that especially in your communication, because the sign is related with that. Gemini is related with communication, with the words that we use to connect with others. So it suggests that you might be too direct with others in some cases. You may, impulsively say some words that sometimes might insult other people or might hurt them. And for some people, this might be a time when they're more aggressive. Then they are not so, they're unable to find compromises, to make compromises, to harmony and balance might be lacking during this Mars transit in your first house. But we can say that if you want to start something, if you want to put a lot of energy into something, Mars in first house actually can be a beneficial transit for you. Just be careful with your attitude, your behavior, how you treat others, and especially how you communicate, because that's the nature of the sign. And next, on the 26th of April, we have a new moon in Taurus, which is in your 12th house. So the new moon is the time when we start new things. There is a new flow of energy. And 12th house, as we already said, is related with your isolation, with your private space, the space that you have only for yourself. So it suggests that you can start something which is invisible for others, which is private or even secret. So if you want to start something which you don't want others to know about, actually this new moon in 12th house can be very supportive to do that. Again, for people interested in spiritual practices or meditations, this can be a very productive time when they can start it. So for example, you can start to meditate, or you may start to read some kind of literature that can inspire you to, and can increase your intuition, because 12th house is also related with the invisible world. So you can start something that can make you feel more connected with that. But especially for people with spiritual interests, this is a great new moon. For for others, it suggests that it's just a time to be one option, start something secret. The other, take a rest, or just definitely for all of you Taurus, this is a time to be not so socially active. But you definitely need your rest. And next, on the 28th of April, we have the transit Venus going to Aries and your 11th house. So Venus is the transit that, related with brings harmony, brings joy, some kind of pleasant small surprises. And 11th house is your social activities, your friendships. So that's a great time to spend more time with your friends, or to concentrate on your social activities. And we should say that previously we had Venus retrograde in Aries, so now that Venus is going through the same degrees again, but it's direct this time, you may have the opportunity to repair something, to fix something that wasn't working while Venus was retrograde in your 11th house. Yes, we still have Mercury retrograde, so again, you should be careful with starting something totally new. But generally, there can be more harmony in this area of your life. So in your social goals, activities, and communication with friends, especially with female, because Venus represents mostly women. And next transit that we have, so yeah, here we have on the 3rd of May we have Mercury going direct. So Mercury is in Aries in your 11th house, and it suggests that 11th house should start to be, things should start to be more fluent. With Venus there and Mercury direct again here, it means that you can spend a lot of time communicating with people, and there should be more harmony, there should be more balance in this communication. That's a great time to organize something with other people, with some kind of group activities. So after the 3rd of May, you have a green light for starting new projects with your friends, or with, something that requires organizing a lot of people, many people in one project. And generally, this is a time when we can start, different new things, and they can be successful. They they won't require, changing something after that, but instead this is a time to look ahead again after we have both Venus and Mercury direct. Time to focus more our attention on the future and not so much on the past. And then we have on the 10th of May a full moon in Scorpio and Taurus. So we have the transit sun in Taurus in your 12th house, and the moon is in the opposite sign, Scorpio, and your 6th house. So the full moon is the time when we can achieve material results and success. But there are two impulses that we need to be, to realize. One of them is the conscious one, which is represented by the sun, and the other one is more unconscious, and that's related with the moon. But we have, this opposition suggests that we are able to see this and to realize this unconscious model, some kind of patterns that we have. So 12th house is related with, as we said, spending time in isolation, spending time alone, even taking and having a rest. That's what you may want consciously to do. And unconsciously, you may still be, putting a lot of energy into your responsibilities, into your work, your obligations. So that's the main conflict related with this full moon in your case. Unconsciously, you may still be too much influenced by your work, by your obligations, and what you need to do. And you need to find the balance. That's what the full moon is all about, finding the balance between these two impulses and polarities. And 12th house and 6th house are related with our health as well, so you need to pay more attention on your health, and there might be like a culmination of something. So if you have some kind of, chronic disease, you should be more careful, because this might be a time when you can have a period that some kind of diseases might be more active, might be activated. And then we have something really important related with our karma. So that's on the 9th of May, when we have the North Node going to Leo, and it means that the South Node is going to Aquarius, the opposite sign. So here we have the North Node going to Leo in your 3rd house, and the South Node to your 9th house. And this transit will last for the next 1.5 years, so that's a long time. And the influence is really strong, because the North Node has a similar influence to Jupiter. So it suggests that the next 1.5 years can be very successful for you and for your contacts, for your communication, for everything which includes learning new skills, education, traveling. But something more practical. So during the next 1.5 years, you need to concentrate more on the small things, on the everyday steps that you need to take. You need to be more practical, living in reality, because we have at the same time the south node going to your ninth house, and the south node has a similar influence to Saturn. It restricts things and it puts some kind of boundaries. And it means that with the south node in your ninth house, you shouldn't be so focused on the future, on your long-term goals, on something, like looking things only from a wide perspective, which is ninth house, but instead you should focus on the small things, on the everyday steps, on the practical side. And as we said, for learning new things, but practical things, not philosophical, which are related with ninth house, but something that you can implement in your daily life or in your work, and it's really visible. So this knowledge, this education can be very successful and positive for you. And for short trips, this can be a very positive 1.5 years. And of course, for communicating more with others, establishing new contacts, new friendships, that's a wonderful transit. And finally, we have the last transit on the 16th of May, which is Mercury going to Taurus and your 12th house. So Mercury in Taurus in 12th house can be related with, you can be more focused on your dreams, on your intuition. Your intuition can be increased. You may start, to understand things which you don't have a rational explanation about. You may just feel them, like a knowledge that is coming from the inside, that is not related with something objective, but is more felt from you. And Mercury in 12th house is a time when you may think about, while you're on your own, you can be more analytical, but not sharing your ideas with others, but just keep it for yourself. And the most actually important is the intuition, the intuitive knowledge that you can receive, the dreams. So pay attention on your dreams during this time, because you can get some answers, some new ideas that can be really important for you. And again, this is not a transit related with so much social activities, but more with your inner world, with your personal experiences. So these were all of the indications that we had to discuss. Very interesting month for you with lots of astrological events. And there is an interesting combination, because we have Mars in your own sign in first house, which suggests that probably you're going to be active, but part of you, which is the Sun in 12th house, and that's the most important part, is more related, with an introverted phase. So you can be really active in lots of things, but part of you is concentrated on your inner world and inner experiences. And you should find the balance between these a little bit contradictory indications, and definitely take your time, take your personal time, and have the rest that you need. So these were the most important indications. Thank you again for watching, and I will wait for you next month again.